and welcome to this Videos on Frontier video. My name is Jay Wakefield, and what we have here today is what looks like a Dell Latitude. And there's a good reason why it looks like a Dell Latitude. This is because it is a Dell Latitude. What you are looking at here is specifically the Dell Latitude C810. Now, apart from the C640 over there, this is one of the later C-series Latitudes that I have. I also have the C800 over there on the arm of that sofa. However, when I bought that, the keyboard was broken, and getting a replacement was not much better. But there is a third replacement on the way, and the reason I've ordered two replacement keyboards rather than saying it's a motherboard is because the two keyboards have different keys which don't work. So, that's what's going to happen. Hopefully the third keyboard, it's coming from one of my favourite eBay sellers, parts_just laptops. So hopefully it should be good. If not, then I reckon it probably is a motherboard. So that machine will be basically put on furlough, so to speak, until I can get the money together to get the motherboard replaced, as I would like to do that, as I believe it will be a really quite a nice project. Especially seeing as Dell do actually provide service manuals for their machines. Anyway, back to this one. Like I said, this is a Dell Latitude C810. And, well, I'm going to be honest, it's not necessarily in the best of conditions. Certainly the state of this Dell badge, if my camera will focus, certainly looks as though it's got a few stories to tell, if I could only understand Dell badge ease, the native language of the Dell badge. This machine is what looks to be SS115, which actually sounds like an unimaginatively named member of the fleet that belongs to the US Navy. Certainly we sailed out of port on that there SS115. So, here we are. The Dell Latitude. Now, in it, I've put a floppy drive. Here's the eBay DVD drive it actually came with. It's a DVD-ROM, 8-speed DVD-ROM module, which is very nice. Now, you might be wondering, why have I gone for the floppy disk drive instead of the eBay module? Well, I'll show you. Why don't we take a wee tour of the machine? So on the front, here is the floppy drive, and you may notice something that's different about this machine compared to other Latitudes. Can you guess what it is yet? Okay, well, what it is the floppy drive is on the left. If we compare it with the C640 here, the eBay drive is on the right. And we have the battery here, which I've nicked from the C640 for no good reason. This is a battery that it came with. Looks like it should be a nice Dell battery, but I don't know if you can tell, but the battery is a slightly different colour from the rest of the chassis. Whereas the battery that's in there is pretty much the same colour as the rest of the chassis. Also, these edges are a wee bit sharp. And the battery doesn't quite fit in the bay. Also, if you look on here, there is no Dell logo to be found anywhere on this battery pack. It says it's for type CPX. But, being a C-bay battery, these should be interchangeable right across the range. I mean, indeed, I could take the battery from a Dell Latitude CP and slam it straight into a C840 and expect it to work. Because that was the good thing about the D-series Latitudes. The parts were just so interchangeable. And certainly the line has been going since 1998. It's certainly stood the test of time. I do believe it. I can't remember whether it was 2002 or 2003. I think it was 2003. They actually rolled out the last of the C-series machines, which was it was the C6 and C840s. The C840 being the last machine, and we're going to come to that in a minute. But it was the last machine by Dell to feature something. Anyway, so that's the front. The C840, the C810's battery has been borrowed from the C640. If we have a look on this side, we've got a small looking speaker, modem and Ethernet ports, Kensington lock slot, hard disk carry. That did actually come with the machine, but I did not get the fitting to plug the hard disk in, so I've nicked that from the C500. There is another one on the way, but that's not going in the C500. That'll be going in the C800 if the keyboard works. And then there's two PCMCIA slots. Now, these actually look really quite untidy unless you have slot protectors in them, or blank slot covers, or whatever you want to call them. When I saw the C800, I initially thought there was something missing. But there's FireWire on this machine. That's, the C800 also has FireWire. I found that quite odd. How a machine of this type would have FireWire, a machine from this early on. The C800 came out in September 2000. Well, that's when it was announced, but I guess there's no harm in having FireWire on it. And it has a full complement of audio ports, a headphone, line-in and microphone, and then there's a vent. And if we have a look here, we've got not one, but two chassis fans. Typical Dell Latitude C-series DCN, which is also shared with the Inspirons. The Inspirons used it for quite some time, actually. PS2 mouse and keyboard combo part. VGA out. Oh, and for those of you who don't know, and I don't know if I've mentioned this in any of my other videos, but you can, and I do believe I have one somewhere, you can actually buy a pigtail that will let you connect both a PS2 mouse and keyboard to one of these. And that applies to any laptop with a combination PS2 mouse and keyboard part, which is pretty much a lot of them. Certainly from 1995 upwards. The Toshiba satellite, the Toshiba 2130 CS or CT, that PS2 part is for a keyboard only. You have to use a serial mouse. I learnt my lesson the hard way when I plugged in a PS2 mouse and the machine went beep, 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 beep. Anyway, there's a docking station connector, IEEE 1284, parallel part, and RS-232 serial, and then there's two USB ports, just like there is on the C800, so they are a bit more generous with the USB ports. Now, just like the D-series Latitudes, the 800 series are usually quite a bit bigger. I mean, this is 15 inches. So, I mean, I would say that if I was charged with selling this machine, I would probably do so as a desktop replacement. Now, unlike other Latitudes, this actually has a fixed optical drive. Well, the C800 and C840 do, but none of the other Latitude C-series machines do. You have the D-bay, plus if you want to have a so-called 3-spindle machine, what you would do is buy a parallel port adapter to plug your floppy drive in, like the one I have on my Gateway 2000. I do have such an adapter coming for Dell Latitudes. Also, there is a S-video out. So, I did say that the Dell Latitude C840 was the last of something. Is it the last of the Mohicans? No, it isn't. The Dell Latitude C840, of which I don't have any. If you want to know about the Dell Latitude C840, go and talk to YouTube user GPPL. He has one, I believe. He also has a C640. But the Dell Latitude C840 is the last Dell Latitude. Well, actually, I don't believe it is, because UXW Bell has a D800, which also has a floppy drive, but according to Wikipedia, which Wikipedia is not always right, the C840 is the last Dell Latitude to actually come. Well, it's certainly the last Latitude to come with a fixed optical drive, and a D-bay and a multi-bay drive. UXW Bell's D800 has a floppy drive, but you can actually buy D-bay floppy drives for those that don't, like mine. But this is a so-called 3-spindle device, and you might be wondering, what do you mean 3-spindle? Well, CD-ROM drive has a spindle, floppy drive has a spindle, and the hard drive has a spindle. 3 spindles. But you can actually just take this drive out and put a regular Dell Latitude C-series battery in without having to buy a special modular bay battery, like on something like this, the C640. So that's quite good. So there's quite a lot on it. However, what we're going to do is we're going to plug her in now and we're going to go to the BIOS. I have nicked a 40 gig hard drive out of what can only be described as a festering Toshiba that was lying in the bottom of my wardrobe. It's always kind of had a bit of a damp garden centre-y smell when I've powered it up, which doesn't really inspire me with confidence. Anyway, let me kill the camera light here. Oh wow, it's really dark. Now, it's darker than a Death Eater's body. Harry Potter reference. Sorry if you don't get it. So this is a Dell Latitude C810. Okay, so I've recently set the time and date. It's October the 24th. And the time is Crevens. The time is 22:48. It has a mobile. This machine has a mobile Pentium III, 1 GHz / 733 MHz. That's what it clocks down to, with speed step. Current CPU speed 1 GHz. Got 512 megs of RAM, just like my C610. But unlike my C610, this has a nVidia GeForce 2 Go! Sorry, it's in capitals. It's an nVidia GeForce 2 Go! With 32 megs of video RAM. And it has an ESS Maestro 3 audio thingamajig. 40 gig hard drive, which like I said, I nicked from a festering Toshiba. Diskette drive A, modular bay. Diskette drive B, not installed. I like how it has provisions for a B drive in the BIOS. I mean, could I... Does it have 2 D-bays or something? D-bays? Why am I calling it a D-bay? It's a... And here's one of the machine's faults. The screen isn't that good. It's standing up on its own, which is quite common for machines of this age. My C610 must have been rebuilt because it doesn't do that. My C800 doesn't do that either. But no, I don't believe you can actually put a regular C-bay drive in the right either. So I'm guessing that it must allow you, it must detect if you have a parallel port BIOS battery. No, what am I on about? Parallel port floppy drive plugged in. But yeah, that wasn't the best idea. Okay, let's try this again. Now, I have tested this machine with a hard drive with Windows 98 on it. Now, granted, there was no drivers or anything, But suffice it to say, I mean, I've tested everything but the sound for obvious reasons. So there's no sound drivers, and the machine does seem to work, unlike the C800, which shall remain nameless, except it didn't because I just called it the Nevermind. So, I wonder if I can press Alt and P to go to the next page. Yeah, let's change the boot order. Boot post minimal, 1 GHz. Enable optimize enabled. Alt P. Let's, why is the infrared part always disabled? That's what I want to know. Keyboard click disabled, numlock disabled. Enable keypad only by FN key. External hotkey scroll lock. That must be why the scroll lock key didn't work on the compact keyboard, which I plugged up to the C800. This is a video about the C810 rather than me bad-mouthing the C800. It's just that I bought it once and it broke my heart. Okay. Or if it was my auntie, if it was my blonde-haired auntie, it'd be like, it made me I was breaking my hair. 100% charged. It lied. Sorry, I'd knocked that from margins. So, as you can see, left battery, right battery, however, yeah. You can, like I said, unlike other Dell Latitude C-series machines, you can actually drop a regular C-bay battery into the actual multi-bay slot, rather than having to drop in a proprietary battery. Okay, so impressive machine much? Oh yeah, and then you've got like all the power options. So I think what we're going to do is the one thing that I have not. Oh dear, that's not worked. Whoops. I can't seem to get this drive to eject, which is, I think, why they must have put a DVD drive. Well, let's see if I can sort that, because it's a good drive. So, the time is currently the back of 2:45 in the morning, or if you are Billy and Luke, it's currently the back of 9:45 yesterday. I've installed Windows. What's it like in the future? What's it like in the future? Meals come in pill form. We all live underwater, and the world is ruled by damn dirty apes. No, I'm only kidding on. An Austin Powers reference, and Luke is away. He had one job. So basically Windows 2000 has been installed, but I'm using the yellow boot disk to boot to some form of DOS, so I can run Windows 98 setup. Yes, it's the epic yellow boot disk. With blue writing. And if you're American, you can't use a / key because it's set to British layout. This is Jay's special disk. So as you can see, I've taken the liberty of copying all the Windows 98 setup files across. I had to try and find some sound drivers with MIDI in them. Had to use driver revision A01. Oh, here we go. Setup has detected a Windows NT file system partition on your hard disk. Files on this partition will not be available when you use Windows 98. For more information, see setup.txt on Setup Disk 1 or the Windows 98 compact disk. Setup Disk 1? Windows 98? Really? Try to run Windows 98, try to install Windows 98 from flippity disks. Can you imagine? Yellow. So, how this machine stacks up, how this machine would have stacked up in the marketplace according to Jay, well, I see this as a direct competitor with the screen size and with the 3-spindle design. I see this as a direct competitor to the 15-inch 1GHz Compaq Armada E500. However, hang on, C810-198. However, I will say this. The graphics on this thing will leave the Armada crying for 1,000 days and 1,000 nights. And I really don't like to say bad things about Compaq Armadas because the E500 is one of my all-time favourite systems. Pair one of those to nVidia graphics with 32 megs of video memory. Wow! I want that system. But the Compaq Armada, even the 1GHz model with the 15-inch screen, which has the same resolution as this, 1400 by 1050, 1440, sorry, by 1050. It only has an 8 meg ATI Radeon graphics card, which is a wee bit sad. Especially when both IBM and Dell were putting 16 and 32 megs in their systems. But then again, the Compaq Armada E500 works fine enough, and Randy has actually found that those can do YouTube quite well on Windows XP. He has an 800 megahertz model with a slightly bigger screen than what my 700 megahertz system has, but not as big as the 15-inch one. I think it could be a 14. I don't know. I just don't know nothing, mate. So as you can see, I'm installing Windows 98. It's zipping along quite nicely here on its 1 gigahertz processor, which is super duper. I plan to wait to get the keyboard for the C800 just to see if it's actually worth investing in a fixed optical drive for. I do want to take advantage of the 3-spindle layout. I like though how you've got, you know, zip, floppy drives, this sort of stuff. To be honest, I reckon a C810 in the same condition as my C610 would cost quite a bit. I mean, my C610 did cost me I can't mind if it was 60 or whether it was £70, but I will tell you something. That is in fantastic condition. Really is. It's just such a pleasure to use. You know, and the thing looks pretty much brand new. So, and it feels pretty much brand new as well. So, I mean, that's kind of what you're paying for. I mean, someone's really done their homework and cleaned it up and what have you. And it came with Ubuntu 11.11 on it. But obviously I then made it run Windows 2000 really good. Boom, boom. So, yeah, this is what is going on in the future, which is ruled by damn dirty apes! Okay, so today is actually Saturday, October the 26th, 2013. I know I've had a bit of a hiatus between recording the first parts of this video and this part. Hopefully a hiatus that you will have not experienced, that will have just kind of been tacked on to the end of the other videos. However, in that hiatus, a few things have happened. Now, the Dell Latitude C810 that I spoke of, there was going to be a video on that, but unfortunately, the machine had to be Sir Dell Dialot, didn't it? I tried a third keyboard, which I got from one of my favourite eBay sellers, Parts_Just Laptops. They have served me extremely well over the past year or so, including breaking down a Compaq Armada 4131 so that I may have a floppy drive, which actually works. So yes, great big kudos to those guys. I really appreciated that. However, that keyboard didn't work with the C800, so I've decided to put it up on eBay. However, I've put it up as parts are not working. The motherboard does work, and the machine does actually work when connected to a PS2 keyboard. However, I do believe the keyboard connector on the motherboard is broken. Didn't necessarily... me spraying it with the screen cleaner didn't help. Anyway, I was desperate. You know, it was pretty much broken anyway. I wouldn't do that professionally. So before I actually put the C800 away, I decided to help myself to a part. Now, as you know, this machine now supports a DVD-ROM reader from the Dell Latitude C810, as the DVD-ROM CDRW combi drive does not work, which is a bit of a shame. I really fancied having one of those in there. However, have a look at the lid. Now, do you remember that Dell badge that had deep scratches all along it? Now it's just got some not as deep scratches. That's a bit more scratch than I would have liked, but it's not as scratched. Well, and the lid itself does seem to be in slightly better condition. That is because I borrowed the screen assembly from the other machine, which has an added bonus of having a really stiff catch, a lead catch. Also, it means the hinges have still got some strength. And I can demonstrate that now by lifting this laptop and marvelling at the screen, which is not coming down. She holds! So, that's that sorted. The screen actually does work. Also, the battery is now back in the C640, and I'm using the... I got this with the C610. I don't think you could... not the C610, the C800. I don't think you could get these. These are kind of like travel light modules. It's basically just a dummy plate for a battery. Which basically means that while the machine doesn't have a working battery, or even a broken battery that... you know, could impinge on the life of the machine and could be quite dangerous, it doesn't have a great big gaping ugly hole in it either. So, let's switch it on. One thing I will say about the original screen that came with the C810, does have a cooler temperature. So this, I don't know, the colours were slightly better, but, oh well. I guess the C800's got to have something. I was going to have it as a project. I was going to build it. You know, motherboards are about 14 quid on eBay. I would have built it up myself and, you know, made it back into a working machine. But really, I just don't have the money for that. So I've decided to put it up on eBay with the hopes that I can recoup some of the money back. Also, what's going up on eBay is the keyboard that I bought. That machine has just broken my heart too many times. So as you can see, I've dual booted it with Windows 98 and Windows 2000. I didn't take you through the installation this time, I'm very sorry about that. You know, I mean, Billy has a C800 and he loves it. Whereas I reckon this should be a wee bit better because it's got nVidia graphics, 32 megs. It's an nVidia NForce, what am I on about? nVidia GeForce 2 Go! Like I said earlier on in this video. Okay, so what we're going to do is... Handy Andes are always good this time of year. So today is the last day of British summertime. After tomorrow, the clocks go back. Which basically means it gets to look like mid-afternoon when you're just breaking for lunch. I used to hate that at school. It's like, why is the sun right in the west? It's only about 11 o'clock in the morning. Sun, you had one job. Actually, it didn't. It's doing it properly. It's just us kind of keep messing around with the clocks. But then again, I mean, you know, when down in England, it doesn't make too much sense for the clocks to go back. However, up here in the north of Scotland, in the middle of winter, if we didn't put the clocks back, it would not get light until about 10, 11 o'clock at night. Okay, so here we are. We've got WorkSuite, and for some reason I've decided to start Streets and Trips 2001. Yes, that's right, people. I've ended up with the American version of WorkSuite 2001. Unfortunately, I don't have Encarta, but that is soon to change, because I plan to get Encarta 2001 Deluxe to go with my Encarta 2000 and Encarta 99. So let's have a wee look at WorkSuite 2001. Oh, right, okay, yes. Let's have a look at... let's randomly click programs instead, because the screen is too small. It's 1440 by 1050. Oh my goodness. Celebrate. Celebrate what? Communicate. Connect. Okay, let's see if I can turn up the volume a bit. Okay, we'll go back to this. We'll look at this. Okay, we'll go back to this. Right, so this is WorkSuite 2001. It has Work 6, but Work 6 seems to have undergone a facelift between WorkSuite 2001 and 2002. I don't know why they didn't call it Work 6.5, because 8.0 and 8.5 don't seem to look too different, but yeah, 6.0 and 6.0 look completely different. Doesn't make sense, doesn't to me either. So, yeah, you can tell that this version's a bit older. You can definitely tell that this is a pre-Windows XP version by the colour scheme and what have you. Just like WorkSuite 2004 and 2005, it has both a program and a task-centric view, although it's a lot more simple. And some might say that it's a wee bit overwhelming to be presented with this list of options. However, it's how things were done when I was younger, so I'm kind of used to it. As usual, you've got the full array of programs, or will have as soon as I get Encarta installed. So that would be Microsoft Word, and then you've got the Works Spreadsheet, Works Database, and Works Calendar. The Windows Address Book, which doesn't come as part of WorkSuite 2000, well, any version of WorkSuite, but it's there. Then you've got the Microsoft Works Portfolio, the thing that everyone seems to hate, but I quite like having it on my desktop. I don't know why. I don't know if it's supposed to be kind of a wee version of Binder or something, because that's what it seems to be to me. You know, a place where you can kind of just keep groups of things together, just like Microsoft Binder. In fact, why don't we go into the Works Portfolio and have a look what you can do. Live Portfolio Compact View, Live Portfolio Gallery View. It must be for pictures. Then you've got Microsoft Money, 2001, Picture It Publishing, Streets and Trips, MSN, Internet Explorer, Outlook Express, Phone Sync, Windows CE device synchronization, Palm compatible device synchronization, and Help and Ideas. Help and Ideas, and with that you can take a quick tour of Works or read the Works Getting Started manual. That's very nice. I really enjoy that. There's also Power DVD on here to celebrate the fact that this machine has a DVD-ROM drive. I've also installed the Best of Entertainment pack. Phone Sync, that came with WorkSuite 2001. Microsoft Clip Art Gallery, there's Office 2000 on here as well. As Dell Users Guide. WinRAR 5.0 Beta 1, which is one of the last versions, if not the last version, that will work with Windows 2000. Dell Users Guide. Oh, brilliant. It's a user's guide on how to use a user's guide viewer. So there you have it. So let's go now into Windows 98. Oh yeah, I've changed all the Englishes to Scottishes because I can. Finding all the drivers for this was quite difficult, and officially Dell only have drivers for Windows ME on this machine, but as this seems to share a lot of the hardware with the Dell Latitude C810, which has Windows 98 drivers, I was able to sort them out. Some pure sleek it like that. How to bottle of Iron Brew, really good. Not had Iron Brew in a while, it's always nice to. Oh, it's nice to have a hope of the old brew. Oh yeah, and now for a wee shocking look at the colour scheme that I've put to Windows 98. I had this colour scheme on my 2001 custom belt in around November 2001. Kind of all blurple. Although that there is purple. Again, the same desktop background, and yes, it's Office 2001. However, this does not have WorkSuite on it. Shock horror. But it does have PaintShop Pro, and I've not installed any entertainment packs. But what we're going to do is we're going to install some games, and we're going to see how well they can run. I'm sorry, it's this one again. It's a game that I had to hand, so it's one that I'm going to do. This is Croc Legend of the Gobos. Now I know that on a GeForce 2, or even a TNT 2, you can actually run this game at 720p. I know this because I've done this with a Compact Disc Pro. In fact, you can run it higher than 720p. So I'm wondering if I can run it at SXGA+. Okay, so let's start the game, but before we do, let's use Direct3D. However, I did have problems with my TNT2 because the shadows were glitching a wee bit. Okay, and so the adventure begins. Wow! These graphics are running smoother than how my face feels after a shave with a Gillette Fusion razor. And no, Gillette did not pay me to say that. But yeah. You cannot play this game one-handed. You need both hands because controls are on either side of the keyboard. But I'm just literally showing you what it's like to run this game at an impressive resolution. Something which I never thought possible with a Dell Latitude C-series notebook. But then again, I've never owned, up until recently, a Dell Latitude C whatever it is. Well, I've never owned a C8 series machine up until now. Yeah. So like to see the D800's got nVidia graphics also. Yay, nVidia! Oh yeah, did I mention that I was using the Windows ME drivers? Yeah, that's kind of important. Or maybe not. Maybe it isn't. I might play Roller Coaster Tycoon on this machine, because I can. And it's a square screen, and it won't look stupid. Well, 4:3. It's still rectangle-ish, but not as rectangle as a 16:9 widescreen monitor. Hey, bits of bubbling lava. I heard you like to shut up. Ah! Well, I seem to be doing a lot better than I did. As a child, I couldn't even play this game with two hands. But I seem to have managed to come away to the end of the first level. Really good. There we go. Thank you. Oh! Oh, well done. Well done me. See if I can actually complete this game, this level. Not the entire game one-handed. Some of these levels are tricky. You ever tried playing the ice zone with the monsters and the desert zone with the desert shit? I don't know. It's just really, really tricky. I don't know. I could not do this whole game one-handed. In fact, it's bad enough trying to do this level one-handed. Thank you. Oh, I've gotten all the gobos for this level. They'll be happy that I freed them. So that works. So I think it's time to end this video with a canyon test. Because thanks to CNET.com I actually have proper sound drivers. Hooray! Oh my goodness, that's not how you do that. So, I want media player. And yes, I do find the screen extremely difficult to see. Whenever I had a 15-inch screen, CRT screen, I always had it set to XGA, 1024 by 768. But here's Canyon and Media Player 9. Oh, and if you're watching this video very far into the future, this is what a start menu looks like. I kind of like how it's very, very logical and really good UI design. Anyway, that concludes this video. I hope you enjoyed watching it. If you did, please feel free to subscribe to my channel. To do so, please follow the URL, which will be displayed very shortly. Also, if you liked it, please feel free to follow us on Facebook. The Facebook URL will also be displayed shortly. But that said, thank you for watching, and I hope you will all join me for my next video. See you again.